We are going to start learning about fractions by finding an equivalent fraction with the indicated denominator. So what I could do is I could cross multiply and get 15 equals 3x and then divide both sides by 3. So I would find out that x equals 5. So that's what this numerator would be 5 over 15. But we're not solving equations. What we want to do is understand the mechanics of finding a common denominator. So my first question is, how did I move from a 3 to a 15 using multiplication? You don't want to add 12 to both sides. So what did I do? I multiplied the top and the bottom of the 1/3 fraction by 5. And when I did that, all I really did was multiply by 1. Remember, any number divided by itself is 1. So I'm changing what this looks like. I'm not changing what it is. Okay, so multiplying across the top, 1 times 5 is 5, and 3 times 5 is 15. So this numerator, or my x value, becomes 5 either way. So let's try it again. I have 5/7. I need to get to a 28, and that will help me find out what this numerator is. So how do I move from a 7 to a 28? I multiply by 4 on the top and on the bottom. Remember, you're just multiplying by a fancy looking 1. You're not changing what it is. You're not changing what it looks like. What is my words? You're not changing what it is. You're changing what it looks like. So multiply across the top, I get 20. Multiply across the bottom, I get 28. And if you reduce that, you get 5/7 back. Okay, so your answer on this one is 20. So on this one, x is 5. On this one, x is 20. So now let's look at just some properties with zeros and ones. So remember that a fraction is another way to write division. So in this case, what I have is -5 divided by -1 is going to give me just 5. In other words, those negatives reduce. And then I've got 5 over 1, which is the same thing as 5. Okay, moving down, I've got a positive divided by a negative. So notice my signs were the same. I got a positive answer. My signs are different. I have a negative answer. So any number divided by 1 is itself. So 7 divided by 1 is going to be 7, but different signs, positive and negative, will give you a negative answer. So to summarize that just a little bit clearer, what I have is 7 divided by -1 is -7. Okay? What about if I have 130 divided by -130? Well, my signs are different, so I know my answer is going to be negative. And then any number divided by itself is going to be 1. Any number divided by itself is 1. Okay, my signs are the same. So what is that going to give me? That's going to give me a positive answer, and then any number divided by itself is 1. So -15 divided by itself is +1. What about 8 divided by 0? If you look at it this way, let's actually do this one first. If I have 0 divided by -8, if you think about that as a little man, and the fraction bar are his arms, okay? So there's his little arms. Okay, he's okay being right side up. That's perfectly fine. So having 0 in your numerator gives you a 0 for an answer. But if you look at it this way, now he's upside down, which means he's very, very dizzy. So we don't want to have a 0 in the denominator. It is impossible to divide by 0. So 0 in your denominator is undefined. So if you like little tricks to remember things, that's a way to remember things. But 0 in your numerator will give you a 0. 0 in your denominator will be undefined. Okay. So now I want to add and subtract, multiply and divide fractions. Okay, and of course it's going to spaz out and not focus. There we go. Okay, so I've got 14/6 plus 21/11, and I need to find a common denominator. So again, my common denominator can be found by finding the prime factorization of 6 and 11. So 6 breaks down to 2 times 3, and 11 is just prime, so he's 11. So I need to take the most of each factor. So I have a single 2, I have a single 3, and I have a single 11, and I'm going to multiply those together. So my common denominator is going to be 66. So that's not actually the answer. Okay, what I want to do is transform this into denominators of 66. So I'm going to come back and erase this just a little bit so it's a little bit clearer. So I've got 14 sixths, and then I've got plus 21 elevenths, and I would like to know what to multiply 6 by to get an answer of 66. Well, I would have to multiply it by 11. So I'm going to multiply by 11 on top and bottom. And then same thing with 11. What would I multiply 11 by in order to get 66? I would multiply by 6 on top and bottom. So looking at this answer, 14 times 11 should be 154 over 66. Do not reduce back. Plus 21 times 6 is going to be 126 over 66. Whoops. And 154 and 126 is going to be 10. That's going to give me 8, and that's going to give me 280 over 66. So I need to reduce that 280 and the 66. So I know that they can both reduce by 2's. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 2. And then 33 has factors of 3 and 11, neither one of which go into 140. So this is your final reduced form for the fraction. Now let's try it again. I've got a 1 over a 1 plus a 1/3. So if you're in fraction world, it may be helpful to have fractions across the board. So that's why I changed this 1 into a 1. Well, I need a common denominator, and that common denominator is 3. So I've got 1/3. Well, this one already has the 1/3. So how do I change a 1 into a 3? By multiplying. I multiply the top and the bottom by 3. So this is going to give me 3 over 3. Do not reduce. Plus 1 over 3 is 3/3 plus 1/3 is how many thirds? 4/3. And that does not reduce. And so that problem is done. So what about 13 and 9? 13 and 9 have factors of 13 and 3 and 3. So I'm going to need 2 3's, and I'm going to need a 13. So 13 times 9 is going to be 2, 7, 117. So I've got 21 13ths minus 8 ninths. So how do I multiply, or what do I multiply 13 by to get 117? I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 9. What do I multiply 9 by to get 117? I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 13. So working across the top, 21 times 9 is going to be 189 over 117 minus, multiplying across the top, I get 8 times 13 is going to be 104 over 117. And then 189 minus 104 is going to be 85 over 117. So the factors of 117 are 13 and 9. 9 does not go into 185. And 13 does not go into 185, I don't think. Hold on. I am tired, so I'm getting my calculator. So 85. Hold on. 85 divided by 13 is not going to work. So this is as far down as I can reduce it. They have no common factors to reduce by. Okay, first thing I notice is subtracting a negative becomes plus positive. So I've got negative 1/5 plus 9/10, and I need a common denominator. Well, the smallest number, I've got a 5 and a 2 and a 5. So I need a 5. There's a single instance of those. and I needed 2. There's a single instance of that. So my common denominator is 10. So how do I make a negative 1/5 into a 10? This one already has the 10, so leave him alone just like this one did. Okay, so how do I make a 10? I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 2. So that gives me a negative 2/10 plus 9/10 is 7/10. So we have added, subtracted, subtracted. Now we're going to multiply. In multiplying, we can go straight across the top and straight across the bottom as long as I reduce first. So I'm going to rewrite the negative 4 just so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to rewrite the negative 4 as negative 2 times 2 over 5 times 11 over 2 times 15. Okay, so 30 I reduced with, or I changed into a 2 times a 15. Now what is this magic that is occurring? You've got a 2 that reduces with a 2. So if I do my reducing up front, it's going to save me some time. So moving across the top, a negative 2 times 11 is a negative 22. 5 times 15 is 75. So I have successfully multiplied those together. Okay, 3 times 2/7. Do not distribute the 3 to the top and the bottom. Remember, if we're in fraction world, we should make sure we are completely in fraction world. So now I'm going to multiply. Nothing reduces from top to bottom. So I'm just going to multiply straight across the top and get 6 over 7. Okay, and if I reduce at the start completely, I don't have to worry about reducing at the end. All right, so that was multiplication. Most people like to multiply and divide fractions if they're being forced to deal with fractions. So first thing I want to remember is that if I've got division with fractions, I'm going to change that to multiplication by the reciprocal. So this is going to become 13/7. Okay, so 1/3 stays the same. This one stays as, or flips to multiplication, and this flips to the reciprocal. And now I want to see if anything reduces, which it does not. So I end up with 13/21. And our final problem of the day is, well, I better be fully in fraction world. So this is going to be negative 3/5 divided by 8 over 1. And now I'm going to change that to a negative 3/5 times 1 over 8, and that gives me a negative 3 over 40.